Okay, so California's on fire, but we have like the best fire department in the world, right? We should be able to contain this, right?
I mean, we did, but the mayor cut the fire department's budget last year, so not enough personnel for this one.
What? Well, I mean, we don't need everybody. We just need a certain amount to spray the area with water.
Oh my god, I love that you say it. It's so funny because the state actually depleted its water reserves a couple months ago, so the firefighters literally don't have enough water to fight the fires with.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. We're in a drought, and so we depleted our water reserves? Well, at least the people that have fire insurance will be getting some money, right?
Ooh, this is awkward. Okay, don't get mad at me, but insurance companies like State Farm has not been allowing renewal of fire insurance policies since 2 months ago, and it's been canceling a lot of contracts.
So let me get this straight. 2 months before the fire, the state depleted its water reserves. Insurance companies have been canceling this fire insurance policy. It's like it's Maui all over again, but it's not like the state needs to free up a whole bunch of land to open up a new smart city infrastructure, right? Because we haven't announced anything like that, did we?
The LA district might have announced plans to set up a smart city by 2028. So it's like Maui all over again.
Yeah.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the
Okay, so
Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. So I like that guy. I think he's very funny. I think his TikToks and stuff are very good. They're very poignant. For the most part, he spreads relatively accurate information. However, I'm going to call him out here, not in a bad way. I'm just saying that something he did say isn't entirely truthful. For one, there's no such thing as fire insurance. Fire is a covered peril on any homeowner's insurance policy. Two, they didn't leave the state 2 months ago. State Farm, Allstate, a lot of insurance companies. We're actually going to pull up a giant list of insurance companies and when they stopped doing business in the state of California. So I think State Farm left a year or 2 years ago, right? They left in like 2002, 2022.
Most actually left in 2022, 2023. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or they said they are no longer,
They're-
technically it was they're no longer writing any new homes as of
And they were-
2023, and they were non-renewing after that.
Yes. So that's a bit of misinformation on his part, but the gist of what he's saying is true. Again, this is why I say it's hard to have conversations with people today because each of us has a bit of the truth. We're hanging on to the bit of the truth. Like what he said is, for the most part, mostly true. I'd say, here's me, fact check, mostly true. It's like now I'm the fact checker. But what he's saying is, most State Farm policies probably finally canceled or terminated, or non-renewed this year. But they quit writing new homes in that state 2 years ago.
Yep.
And they probably were contractually obligated to wait until their final payoff, and that was probably it.
You can go back. We have a video literally on this about the about insurance companies fleeing the state of California.
6 months ago, we talked about this. It was called California Burning.
Yep.
And all these insurance companies, the two big ones were Allstate and State Farm. They were the two big ones.
The two biggest ones were Allstate and State Farm. That's correct.
So this is not new information. Like I said, this is not like a shocking display. And again, there's no such thing as fire insurance. Fire is just a covered peril on your standard home policy.
Correct. Now, getting to it, here is the here is the article that I found, and this is from a local station, Fox 26 Houston, California insurance crisis. Listed carriers that fled or reduced coverage in the state. Wildfires ravaging Southern California are expected to add further fuel to the state's ongoing insurance crisis as residents' options for property coverage continue to dwindle or even disappear. Several insurance companies either fled California, stopped writing new policies, or otherwise reduced their exposure in the Golden State, citing business risks amid rising replacement costs and inability to adequately raise premiums. Now, this is what we were talking about yesterday. California has put caps on how high you can raise insurance premiums. Well,
it's great for people. It's great for the customer. It's not great for the carriers because, again, what's the purpose of running a business? To turn a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So if the insurance companies can't turn a profit, they don't want to do business there. So basically, California said you can't have insurance rates for certain homes go over probably, I'm just making up a number here, $5,000. If any insurance policy goes, a homeowner's policy is over $5,000, you can't raise the premiums higher than that. So you have Allstate, State Farm going, every house in California, even if it's a 2-bedroom house, is a multi-million-dollar home. Like $1 million home in California is like a $500,000 home here in
Yes.
Oklahoma.
Mhm.
Like I can tell you, I mean, I remember talking with a girl who moved here from California, and she goes, "This is great. We bought a house 4 times bigger than the house that I lived in California. Like 4 times bigger here in Oklahoma."
But then her insurance skyrocketed because
Yes.
of this. Like their insurance was so high, they're like, "That's not worth it." And we're like, "Yeah, because you bought a big ass home."
And we have basically every issue here in Oklahoma you could have. You know, you just have to worry about wildfires and droughts in California and earthquakes. And here you have earthquakes, you have fires, you have tornadoes, you have wind and hail, you have snow and ice that can destroy your house as well. Like you have every peril here in the state.
Yeah. Even hurricanes, like we catch the back end of hurricanes too.
And hurricanes, what do hurricanes do? They spin off tornadoes. So we are experiencing a significant rise in insurance prices. And again, you know, another reason for it too isn't just because the companies are trying to make more money off of, you know, basically valuing your houses higher, because again, the market's crazy right now. The insurance market's volatile, the homeowners market's volatile. If you're a seller, great time to be a seller because you can make a boatload of cash, but again, that cash isn't worth as much as it used to.
And if you go buy another house, you pretty much depleted all that cash after your first purchase.
Exactly. I mean, it's nuts right now. It's absolutely nuts. Everything sucks. And it's a mess. The insurance business is a mess. And again, you know, State Farm and Allstate are just probably rubbing their hands together because the cars are still probably getting charred up. So, you know, insurance policies for auto is going to go skyrocket too because, you know, they're still taking the big L on the on these autos because the autos are still catching up with the fire. So if you have a collision and comp,
you have to remember was that 6 months ago when we talked about them leaving the state, there was a huge wildfire back then too that they were talking about. I was like, okay, this is happening more frequently and way too often for us to be able to litigate this type of risk. So we either need to leave the state or we need to be able to raise prices. Well, guess what? The California insurance commissioner, who I actually have a meme about in here,
oh nice,
is not allowing insurance companies to raise premiums. Well, if they can't raise premiums, they can't adjust costs to justify staying in the state.
Yes.
Like California's bad governance has led to the insurance crisis.
If a business cannot turn a profit, they're not going to do business there. Period. This is why businesses are fleeing California. Regulation is killing industry in California. That's why Elon Musk left California.
Yeah. That's why the only businesses that can actually maintain being in the state of California are ones that have like zero emissions, which are tech companies.
Yeah. Yeah, and technically they don't have zero emissions. I mean, the stuff they have to get their stuff.
Well,
software
I meant
there.
like their employees, basically.
Yeah,
like it's like,
yeah.
oh, I'm in a computer, I'm typing, I'm trying to keep people happy.
I understand the gist of what you're saying,
but anyway, here is the rest of that article. Here's a list of the insurance companies that have either scaled back or left California in recent years. Allstate. Insurance giant Allstate paused its sales of new home insurance policies in California in 2022. Due to wildfires and higher cost of doing business in the state. So, wildfires, 2022. Think of how far back that was.
And what's amazing, too, is, I mean, it makes sense with what I'm seeing in insurance sales currently. It's why they only want to do auto. Yep. I mean, I think pretty soon State Farm and Allstate are going to go solely to auto insurance, and they're just going to not be in the business of home. They're going to be an auto and rental insurance company, and they're not going to do any type of homeowners. Yep. That's what I foresee in the future.
Yes. Next one on here, American National. Texas-based American National announced last year it would stop offering homeowners insurance in the California markets. Amgard, a subsidiary of Blackshire Hathaway-owned Guard insurance companies, stopped writing homeowners policies in California in 2023.
Just start reading the dates. You
got
to read that whole thing.
Chubb 2021 earnings called for to reduce. So Chubb only reduced its home coverage.
Yeah,
there.
And when I say reduced, what that means to you is they're only writing houses in certain areas. Like they'll look at the places in the Hollywood Hills and they'll be like, nope.
Or here's the other part of that: they could have excluded fire hazards.
Yes, that was something I was actually somewhat concerned about. Like pretty soon they'll say, well, we'll do business in the state, but we're going to exclude one thing, the one thing that's going to cost us the most money, and it will be fire. It'll be like, fire is a separate insurance policy, like flood. Like flood insurance is a separate policy. Earthquake like State Farm actually has earthquake coverage on their homeowners policies. How good it is, I'm not sure, but Allstate don't. They don't have earthquake on the home.
Yeah. Well, I think some of them have those things on there that state like no man-made earthquakes. So like anybody that argues that fracking caused this, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's not on there. We can't do it.
We exist in this litigious world where lawyers will just be like, well, you can't prove that it wasn't fracking that caused that earthquake, can you?
Yep.
And again, I mean,
and
all the fear of fracking is doing is ruining
the energy
industry. Like, I mean, like, you want to know why things are so expensive? It's because you have these dumb, really, really dumb people who are going, fracking's causing the earthquakes in Oklahoma. It's like, well, now you're putting more regulation on our industries. Now the cost of energy is going to go up. So you are sitting there destroying basically the welfare of the people around you because you're so concerned about drilling a hole that's about this big. Like, I mean, this is how big a fracking pipe is. We're drilling a hole into the ground that's about yay big to find oil.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so afraid of that size hole that you go, those are what's causing the earthquakes.
Yeah, not the huge lithium mines or anything like that. It's the fracking. Anyway, so we just did Chubb. Falls Lake Insurance. Falls Lake informed California in 2023 they would be pulling out of the state completely because the company had not obtained a reinsurance property. Good Lord. So again, it's like what he just said. They're not getting rid of auto. They're just getting rid of their home. And like I said, but this Lake Falls was like, nope. I mean, Falls Lake, we're out of here completely.
But I mean,
later.
There's going to be there are insurance companies that appear and do business in the state of Oklahoma that disappear a year later. Like, literally, I can't tell you how many people were in our book of business that left because there's this new insurance company. I'm like, I've never even heard of them. You know, it's like, and then they call me back next year going, they left the state. And I'm like, that's not surprising.
Yep. They couldn't stay in the market because they couldn't afford it.
So a lot of that's going to be this too. It's going to be a lot of these like people who try to start up insurance companies and then they realize that they've gone insolvent within the year because they weren't fiscally responsible enough or didn't have the benefactoring or the shareholder money in order to stay afloat.
Exactly.
Or it was a kind of a startup and then somebody bought them out really quickly.
Yes.
And then terminated them because they didn't want the competition.
Yeah, another bigger insurance company will buy them, and that's what a lot of people do. They'll start up.
It's cheaper to buy them and destroy them than it is to buy them and keep them.
But that's the other thing too. It's like the people who start them. Like you'll meet those people who like literally all they do is they sell their business, restart a new one, build up their book to where they can get big enough to sell it to an insurance. And there's guys that do that.
Yeah, I mean, and because they make a lot of money. Like they go, I'll just make just enough to get by. But like I said, off the sale of the last business I made, it netted me enough to buy a new business and live very comfortably until I can sell this other new business.
Exactly.
It's kind of like real estate, but it's a business.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And then we also have Farmers Insurance Group, which that's most of the farmers, companies.
But Farmers did something even bigger. Farmers is no longer doing business on the coasts.
Yeah.
Farmers was like, we're sick of the hurricane risk. We're done. So Farmers, one, they're a foreign company. B, they're only doing business in the Midwest.
Yep. He's absolutely right about that. And here, this is what it says. Yeah, completely withdrew from the state entirely. And again, that's what he just said. All the coastal states are gone. That's East Coast and West Coast. They ain't doing business there anymore. They're only doing business in Middle America.
Yep.
Next I have is Nationwide. Nationwide, private client subsidiary of Nationwide, informed California last year that it would stop renewing all its homeowners insurance policies in the state June of 2025, according to San Francisco Chronicle. Now,
Nationwide is not on your side.
Yeah. No kidding.
At least not California.
Yeah, but the craziest part about this is like they're regretting not getting out before 2025 right now. I can guarantee you that.
But look, this is just like, anybody see that movie The Big Short? Like you saw all these smart people who saw the writing on the wall. And you have State Farm. Like I said, State Farm is the biggest dog in the fight. Like they're the fattest pig at the teat suckling right now. State Farm's got the lion's share of the shareholds. The minute they do something, everybody's going to follow suit. Like because they have enough money to have these, environmental surveyors go out, and they have enough people inside of they have enough actuaries to be like, something's coming, something bad is coming. And if this powder keg lights, we're going to lose billions.
Yeah. I mean, That's basically what Moneyball is about. Like, actuaries are that kid from Moneyball, what Jonah Hill's character played.
Mm-hmm.
They look at the statistics of everything and go, this is our bread and butter right here. It don't matter about anything else. Just keep going with this.
Yeah.
And then they noticed in California, like, we cannot afford to do business here
Well,
anymore.
one, the state is pseudo-communist. They're telling us we cannot raise home insurance prices. We cannot we can't turn a profit. That's the most important one. One, they're artificially keeping the homeowners rates or the homeowners insurance rates low because the insurance the insurance commissioner in California is saying, nope, we won't allow you to do that because we're trying to give our customers a fair shake. And it's the companies are like, well, you're not giving us a fair shake, so we're gonna just pull out.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have a choice. Their hands are tied. Like they're beholden to their shareholders. They're not beholden to their employees or their customers. They're beholden to their shareholders. And what do people invest in companies like State Farm for? They invest to make money. The company has a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, not to the people who buy policies from them.
Mm-hmm.
The contract, like I said, they have their hands cuffed behind their back with the contract, which is why, again, they said we're not writing new business, and the minute your policy renews, it's non-renewing.
Yep.
Like, so, again, bad business practices in the state of California. The fact that the companies are beholden to the shareholders, not to their customers. Again, the only thing protecting you is the policy itself.
Yeah.
It's that fiduciary responsibility the company has to you through the contract.
It is a contract. An insurance policy is a contract between you and that company that says, as long as I do this, which is pretty much 90% of the time is pay your bill, you are financially obligated to help me fix my house as long as I pay my deductible. And that is the truth. But here's the other portion of this is, who would have guessed? It's poor state policies and governance that cause this to happen.
Yeah.
It always is. Like, everyone always blames the left always blames the greedy insurance and corporation companies that did this to us. But it's not.
There's an element to it, but there's a far bigger picture. Again, this is why we have such a hard time communicating information, because we all hone in on the piece of information that we like the most. Is there an element of greed to this? Yes. The companies must and have to turn a profit. But at the same time, the companies also have their hands tied behind their back once the policy is signed. Like, I mean, again, they are fiduciarily obligated to carry out their part of the contract in the event that it happens for you. But again, if it's not profitable, they're not going to do it.
Anybody's policy that is still in force right now, you are saved right now. If your policy did not get non-renewed, you are going to be scot-free out of this.
I guarantee you there are still people in the state of California that have their insurance policies through State Farm or Allstate that have not been non-renewed yet. That, their State Farm and Allstate are shaking their heads going, damn it. I mean, at least we didn't get at least we canceled most of our policies in the state, but there are still a handful they're going to have to make payouts on.
Yep.
Guarantee it.
Yep. Getting back to the list, State Farm. We're finally got to State Farm. State Farm, California's largest homeowner insurance provider, announced in 2023 that it would no longer accept applications for property insurance and other policies in California, citing historic increases in construction and inflation.
Yep.
Which this is the big thing. Like, we've been calling on people that call in. They're like, why'd my insurance premium go up? Why'd my insurance premium go up? That's it right there. Cost of construction and inflation. That is 100% true. After COVID, nobody went back to work, so construction companies raise their rates because it's literally like just the managers that are there now and the few of their employees that they can get to go. And that's not even counting independent contractors.
Yeah.
And then inflation, of course, like Biden inflation is literally killing us on everything regarding pricing right now.
He says State Farm policyholders are their shareholders.
Oh, yeah. He says that's true. But regardless, we're moving on to the next one. Hartford Insurance.
Just give me the dates. We're
2024. They are no longer writing new policies as of 2024. I don't know how to say this one. Koyo Marine Insurance and Trans-Pacific Company.
Travelers.
They stopped in April 2024, saying companies will cease offering homeowners insurance. Travelers, and this is the last one. See here, will not be renewing policies, property from 2022 to 2023 due to risk of wildfires.
So again, like that, the thing we showed you when we opened up the video, it's not totally true. Like they didn't do this 2 months ago. This isn't like a conspiracy. This has been something that's been in the works since 2022.
Yeah.
Again, State Farm was the first, and again, the first person through the door, all the other insurance companies start scratching their head going, why is State Farm pulling out? And then they look at their actuaries and they look at their environmental surveyors and they go, this is why they're pulling out State. And in fact, there are other shareholders who know, people who are very wealthy people who do business, they're picking up the phone and being like, what are you doing? You don't think they're going to answer like, oh, just look at these numbers. Look at this spreadsheet here.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
They're following, you have State Farm, who's the big dog. You don't think the little dogs are going to do exactly what the big dog does? They want to have the same level of success the big dog has.
Yeah. Okay. And so just to clarify that again, State Farm policyholders are the shareholders.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They are a mutual company. So it's meaning that you have mutual investment in your policy and in the company if you go through State Farm.
Yeah. And again, it's not like State Farm wanted to lead the state of California. They didn't. They just wanted to be able to adjust the rates accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
So don't act like it's this big evil, corporations are all corporation-y and they're trying to make money. It's like the communist argument. It's like, they don't care about you, man. It's like, no, they want to be able to turn a profit and give you a somewhat valuable product.
It's the same thing with the healthcare industry. If a doctor does not operate on you out of the goodness of his heart, he's there because he's making big buku bucks. That is why they are there. If they were not getting paid, there would be practically zero doctors. There'd only be 1% of doctors that would say just because they love the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, I knew people in college, the only reason that they wanted to become a doctor was so that way they have that reputation. I want people to call me doctor.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they get to the point where they can be a teacher or something, that's all they wanted to do. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to actually be in the medical field. I want to be a college professor doctor. I want to be a doctor that teaches people. I don't want to be a doctor that actually doctors.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
I want to be a doctor in name only.
Yeah, literally. That's hilarious. Man alive.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll get back to this. You can read that if it's anything good. But
yeah. But again, and if you want to know why another big reason why why insurance rates are skyrocketing in your states, again, they lost a lot of money pulling out of the state of California. So another reason you'll probably be seeing some increases on price is because they lost a lot of money. And I'm sure people are wondering why their pockets aren't getting lined. So that element of greed is still there. But you can't tell me that anything everything we do, we all if you could do the thing you love for the rest of your life and make money doing it, you would.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So somebody's pockets got lighter when they pulled out of the state.
Yep.
So,
all right. Well, here's what I've got on the meme side of things now. Is there anything information useful that he's just sent? But anyway, Governor Gavin Newsom, it's misinformation to say I depleted the water supply to protect salmon. Gavin Newsom, 1 year ago. His own words right out of the horse's mouth right here. Volume.
That little guy is a three-spine stickleback. They're really abundant bycatch. Hang on, what is it?
We're talking about restoration. We're talking about partnership. We're talking about restoring old salmon runs. We're talking about restoring cultures and economies. We're talking about restoring trust.
Fishing shirt he's wearing. He's never gone fishing a day in his life.
Back to our proud past. And it's all around making sure that we bring back that original habitat. We bring back sort of the natural ecosystems. And again, we partner with the tribes that understand this better than anybody else.
What?
Okay.
You're telling me Indian tribes understood the mudfish habits?
Mm-hmm.
Were they doing environmental studies on these mudfish?
Yeah. Remember, only you can prevent your state from becoming California. That's the new Smokey the Bear saying right there, if I've ever heard one.
Again, yeah, you keep going. Didn't you have that video of they keep saying climate change is the reason for California's wildfires. So pull up that video of that guy riding his horse, looking through. It's like this is all undergrowth and fallen trees and dead wood.
Will do. Let me get there. First one I have here is this from Libs of TikTok. California is burning down. Death tolls at 24. Tens of thousands of acres burned. And what's Gavin Newsom focusing on? $50 million to Trump-proof the state. Gavin Newsom and California Democrats reached $50 million deal to Trump-proof the state.
What does that even mean? It just means that's money going to Democrat politicians. That's all that means.
Can't read it. It says actual footage of open DEI auditions to join the LA Fire Department.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
You're hired.
yeah. No, you should have pulled up that video of Adam Carolla giving his little spiel on, his white privilege, getting him on the 7-year wait list to become a California firefighter back in the 90s.
Yeah. And then this is regarding to climate change. It's just as easy to buy a scientist as it is to buy a politician.
Yeah, again, there is financial incentive for these scientists to say, yeah, climate change is real because we just get to go around having fun doing environmental surveys, getting paid huge government contract dollars to do this, despite the fact that if they prove it false, they're out of a job. So they don't want to do that. So they go, I have a cushy scientist job where I can go out and I can take the temperature in a certain area and get paid $300,000 a year to do that. Why the hell wouldn't you do that job?
Yep. Next one I have here is no money for fires, but California spending $2.6 billion per year on healthcare for illegal aliens. Check this out from Fox Business.
But the thing is, for sanctuary cities and states, they complain about the cost, but they continue to add services. I want to show you California. As of yesterday, California has added a health care benefit for migrants. They are now going to extend free health care to migrants between the ages of 26 and 49. That's going to cover 700,000 additional people and cost the state $2.6 billion each year. Now, that's added onto that's added onto California's deficit, which is already $68 billion. But the thing is,
jeez.
Yep. Good Lord. Oh, here's the insurance commissioner for the state of California right here. Ricardo Lara. Of course it is, says Donald Trump Jr. Mm-hmm. Libs of TikTok. This is the California's insurance commissioner. California insurance commissioner. First openly LGBTQ statewide election official in California history. Son of immigrants. This is my political account. And he has he, him, his pronouns in his bio. Of course he does.
Because, you know what matters? Communism. Gay communism is what matters. Because it doesn't matter that these insurance companies aren't going to do business. I mean, he's saving the day. I mean, I promise you, there's people in our book of business here that would be thrilled to death if we had an insurance commissioner like this who would tell insurance companies you can't raise rates on homeowners insurance.
Yep, which would cause the exact problem that's happening in California right now, where insurance companies are like, okay, well, we can't raise prices. Well, we have to leave the state because we can't financially take care of this without robbing other states' pots to pay for California.
Yeah, again.
So that's literally what they're doing. California is literally trying to get it to where insurance companies have to stay in the state and be able to rob the insurance collective pots from like Oklahoma, Texas, other states to be able to pay for the damages received in California.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul. So this is why you have to have qualified people in these positions, people who understand economics. You know, this is what happens when you appoint gay communists into political positions of power and authority. You appointed a gay communist to run the insurance commission, and he chased every insurance company out of the state.
Yep. Imagine that. Mm-hmm. Next one I have here is 0% contained, 100% DEI.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Again, gay, trans, DEI appointees. Again, that video we showed you yesterday. Well, if I have to run into a fire, you should put yourself in a position that you shouldn't have put yourself in. Like, it's not my job to go in there and get you. And there's like a famous Disney child actor that Tim Pool was talking about today that burned alive in his house.
Yes.
Because he was blind and disabled.
Yes.
But he was like a famous Disney star.
Yeah, Rory. Rory.
Yeah.
And
his mom had a broken arm. She literally could not get her own son out of the house.
Yep. And he told his mom, "Go get yourself out of the house." Mm-hmm. He goes, "I'll wait here till you get back." And his roof had collapsed in on him and killed him.
Mm-hmm. A blind, disabled Disney star. I mean, again, he obscure Disney. He's a Disney Kids Channel star, so you won't know his name, unless you watched a Disney Channel as a kid growing up. It was one of those sitcom kind of shows.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's just pathetic, man.
Next one I have here is from Cat Turd, a new strategy for Democrats: just lie. That's been their MO for a while now, but and this is from the post he reposted, Alex or ALX, and it says, "Reservoirs are full. Beware of disinformation." So let's check out Gavin Newsom tell us about how full the reservoirs are.
I called for him to come out, take a look for himself. We want to do it in the spirit of an open hand, not a closed fist. He's the president-elect. I respect the office. We have a president of the United States that within 36 hours provided a major disaster declaration over a text. We had support from the president of the United States, Joe Biden, with 100% reimbursement, all the resources you could hope for or imagine, constant communication. I'd like to extend that to the president-elect. I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about.
This is how you know politicians are evil, at least Democratic politicians, because the way he shows no remorse. Like, he shows no problem lying. I mean, like, it's like when you look at a kid and they tell you a lie. You know, like, they can't look at you, you know, or they make a face. Like, he has, like, this is a sociopath. He's literally lying to the camera's face right now. Has no problem doing it. Shows no signs that he's actually lying. Like, I mean, he's just open, like, yeah, no, that's not true. There's plenty of water in the reservoirs.
Let's keep going. I'll finish this out real quick.
Reservoirs here in Southern California, that mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir. That was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to as it relates to the Delta and somehow connecting the Delta smelt to this fire, which is inexcusable because it's inaccurate, also incomprehensible to anyone that understands water policy in the state.
Okay. Understands water policy in the state. Right there. That is a bogus statement because no one is allowed to collect rainwater. Like, all runoff water is not allowed to be collected in the state of California. So that is a bogus statement from him right there. You have mismanaged your water. If you are out of water, you don't go, oh, don't collect any water.
I mean, it's the classic line that Milton Friedman said, if the government was in charge of sand, there'd be a sand shortage.
Yep, 100%. This one's just kind of funny, though. 2021, Facebook isn't censoring free speech. Close your eyes, open them back up, 2025. Facebook regrets colluding with the Biden administration to censor free speech. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, I know. And again, it's like all these conversations we have with people online. It's like, they weren't doing that. It's because you guys were just posting misinformation. Like, how convenient for you and your side, huh?
Yep. Next one I have pulled up is, don't worry, this is from Libs of TikTok, a repost. Biden is giving $770 to the victims of the fires. He gave $500 million to Ukraine last week.
Well, yeah.
And remember, he only gave $750 to North Carolina, so that California, that extra $20. Really crushing it.
I mean, but the problem is inflation in California. Everything's more expensive in California. That's probably 2 days worth of food right there, if that.
That's probably like a day's worth of food if you have a family.
Yeah, family of 4, that's a day worth of food.
But here we go. We'll watch this real quick.
And I want to be clear. We're not waiting until those fires are over to start helping the victims. We're getting them help right now, as you all know. People impacted by these fires are going to receive one-time payment of $770. One-time payment. So they can quickly purchase things like water, baby formula, and prescriptions. So far, nearly 6,000 survivors have registered to do just that, and $5.1 million has gone out. And I want to be clear.
Again, wonder how easy it is for some of those people that don't have access to internet and electricity right now again.
Yeah.
How are you getting that money?
Yeah, what happens where you have no signal where the cell and Wi-Fi towers burn down?
Yeah. Governor Gavin Newsom right now, sitting in his high tower watching his empire burn.
Way to go, Nero.
And let's see here. Donald Trump, Gavin, the undergrowth here is going to fuel these wildfires. As you can see, climate change has hit us hard.
Again, it's what I was talking about yesterday. Infrastructural jobs. The not sexy stuff. That's what government's for. It's there to do the not sexy stuff. The stuff that keep the water running, maintain the pipes, maintain the sewer systems, the unsexy stuff that people don't like talking about. You know what's another not sexy job? Undergrowth. I mean, you could create a government job where it's literally like instead of firefighters doing it, it would be a job of like
park rangers,
park rangers or undergrowth officers where you go in and you get paid a salary. It's like, look, pay me. I will happily. I mean, I've been doing controlled burns and burning leaves my entire life. I will go out into the woods of California, give me a group of guys, pay us a moderate salary or a living wage to go out there and do it. We'll just bring rakes and lighters and lighter fluid, rake up a couple of piles, and we'll just do that all day. We go out there at 9, leave at 5, get an hour lunch break. I mean, what a better way to spend a day working in nature. It's like, I would love to have that kind of job.
Yep.
Be paid to go out there and just burn leaves. Like, that's awesome. But again, those are infrastructural jobs that actually matter, that it's not sexy to want to do that type of stuff. It's not sexy to create the kind of jobs. You know what is sexy? We're going to build a $50 billion high-speed railroad between here and San Francisco.
Yep.
And we're going to, and these fires are awful convenient because it's going to basically pave the way for
the
them
railway.
to do that.
Mm-hmm. Next one I have here, this is from Stone Toss. They're marketing Satan to kids. It's an old, boomer dad. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're overreacting, Dad. Then he changes the channel to Donald Trump giving the okay sign. White supremacy! Oh, God, that's good. All right. This is him. This is Trump talking about Gavin Newsom being one of the worst governors, but we're talking more along the lines of election fraud, and he's made a law to where it's illegal to ask for voter ID in California.
Yeah.
So he's talking more election stuff, but they were talking this. I remember this conversation. I watched this whole podcast, and they talked about how bad Gavin Newsom was on a lot of things, and including how the state is not being able to let you keep water, all sorts of stuff. He was talking about this on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom's daily routine, getting ready for work in the morning.
Putting on clown face.
Mm-hmm. Golly, man.
He looks like he should have been born a clown.
Oh, yeah, DeSantis.
This is a map of San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except
politically connected
when
family.
A communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags.
Well, I'm looking at total.
Yep. And if you do recall, he did. He cleaned up the entire city. He got rid of he had the police move homeless people out of the way and all the stuff for the Chinese caravan that came into town, which makes you really wonder
who does he serve?
Who does he serve? He doesn't serve the American people. He clearly serves the Chinese Communist Party, because why on earth would you get that ready for that, but you wouldn't get it ready for your town and for tourists?
I mean, that's the Chinese flexing their corrupt political influence in California. And that's crazy. It's like, I don't give a damn about my citizens, but whenever Xi Jinping, the guy who's probably backing my political campaigns, I mean, I care about what he thinks.
Yep. Here is that video I was telling you about. This is the one where they said that there was construction going on this reservoir, and there's been no traction with it. And this is the video I was telling you about yesterday. So check this out.
This was supposed to be the water to put out the Palisades fire. This is the Santa Ynez Reservoir. It's the water supply basically for the Palisades. When they first started fighting the Palisades fire, they ran out of water extremely quickly. Wednesday, 3 a.m., they were basically out. And there's been a lot of talk on why this happened. So how long has this reservoir been empty for?
Since February of last year. There was no communication from the Department of Water and Power to LAFD that there was a water supply issue.
The firefighters, when they started fighting the fires, no one informed them that the reservoir was empty. This reservoir holds 117 million gallons of water. The fire department was using a water supply from 3 backup tanks, each one only holding 1 million gallons of water. They say it's closed for maintenance to repair the lid that's on top of it. I don't know a lot about reservoir maintenance, but there's literally no construction materials or vehicles anywhere in sight. Also, with a reservoir like this, you can refill it or start to refill it. So another question is, if they saw the Santa Ana winds were coming and we have this remarkably dry wet season, why was there no attempt to start refilling it back up? I know I threw a lot out there, but I think we need some answers, guys. Some real answers here.
Again, it's called government mismanagement. Again, if the government was in charge of sand, there would be a shortage of sand.
Yep. It says here from Derek Evans, Adam Schiff claims the Santa Reservoir Yanez was full of water before the wildfires happened. This man filmed a video showing the reservoir was empty. Adam Schiff is a liar. And this is the people that the Democratic Party trusted to, like, investigate Trump and all that. This man is a proven liar.
Again, but that's all they do. They don't actually go out and do the investigative journal. Like, that TikToker is more of an investigative journalist than CNN or MSNBC would ever be. They literally pick up the phone, they call the government bureaucrat in charge, and they go, "Excuse me, Mr. Government Bureaucrat in charge of the Santa Palisades or whatever, Santa Ana Reservoir. Hey, is there water in that thing?" "Yep." "Well, we've done our research." Yep. Click. Adam Schiff goes out on TV, tells everybody everything that's fine, and then the people who watch the mainstream media just believe it.
Yep. And that's what happens. There's the same thing with that cat video that popped up and made everything. They called the city manager, and the city manager's like, "No, there's nothing like that." And then and people who are actually local journalists call in and find out, yeah, there's actually like increase in missing cats, and there's been a couple of incidents where people have seen videos of people cooking pets, or at least not pets, at least stray cats or something.
Mm-hmm. Even my girlfriend, we had conversation. She was like, "Oh, that's not true." And I pulled up our video episode and showed them roasting a cat. And she was like, "Is that actually a cat on there?" And I was like, "Yeah. Its paws are like this, being cooked and burned."
Yep. This next one I just thought was funny. But men in 1944 facing almost certain death, running into battle. This says men in 2020 facing a 99.9% survival rate disease.
Yeah. We come a long way, people.
Next one, California. The California wildfires could be leaving deeper inequality in their wake. So that's what we're worried about. That's what the AP is worried about. The fact that not that people are dying and losing their lives and their homes and livelihoods. The fact that this is going to cause more inequality.
Well, I mean, but again, I mean, the poor are always going to be more adversely affected because what the poor are really going to be. If they had a house, they probably didn't have insurance on their house, so they wouldn't be getting it rebuilt anyway. They probably kept all of their money in a pillowcase under their bed instead of having it in a bank. So, yeah, of course, the poor are always going to suffer more.
And this is completely relevant to what we just talked about with California insurance companies leaving the state.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism has made healthcare so expensive. Be honest. I am honest. Who is involved in every step of the way? The government has made healthcare more expensive. Thank you.
Yep. Again, this is not solely due to the greed of capitalism. State Farm didn't leave the state of California because they wanted to.
Yep.
They did it because they had to. They didn't have a choice. It wouldn't have been a profitable business venture for them to continue to do so.
And here's what we talked about regarding what happened with Ted Cruz's Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that ice storm took out half, or like not even half, it was like 10% or a quarter of the states.
Yeah, took down the grid, the power grid.
Exactly. It says Texas failed, and the Atlantic, Texas failed because it did not have a plan. And then the Atlantic, January 11th, 2025. How well-intentioned policies fueled LA's fires. How well-intentioned policies fueled LA.
Again, the balance you have here. The Atlantic is so left-wing biased, they can't even put out a good article or title. Texas failed because it didn't have a plan. Maybe because Texas hadn't experienced a winter storm like that in 20, 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have well-intentioned policies fueled the fires. It's again, but the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Am I right, Atlantic?
And didn't they determine that a lot of the reason that the state went without power is because those were towns that were actually trying to go electric or wind powered, and the wind turbines were the ones that froze and stopped the electrical?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, when you get a cold enough freeze, I mean, wires bend, severing connections between locations, you know? I mean, like ice storms. I mean, it's like that year that all those trees were exploding because all the ice built up on them here in Oklahoma.
Okay. Here is that video you were just talking about. The guy riding his horses through the California forest.
This is what your forest really looks like. That's why when there's a fire, there's total devastation.
Why don't you bring down that volume? We don't have to listen to what's going on.
Look at all that ground litter.
I mean, you can't hear it. It's super quiet.
So, folks, here's the deal. That is climate. That is not climate change. That is undergrowth. That is poor forest management. Again, there are acres and acres of places that most hikers would never even walk in the forests and stuff in California. They're just like, why would you go there? But like I said, this is the mismanagement of the forest. Again, this is what I said. I would happily get paid a government salary, walk out there with a team of guys with a rake and a shovel or even some chainsaws, shut this stuff up, put it in a pile, burn it, and then just rake all the stuff away from the trees. Do some controlled burns. This is what you need to do. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's just another infrastructural thing that has to happen in order to keep your forests, A, looking nice, but B, keeping your community safe from giant forest fires. Yeah. I mean, look at that. That is all dried up dead wood. That is stuff. That is the powder keg. I mean, you could probably fart in there and light a fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then that comes down to this next one right here. This video of CNN, like they are freaking out because people aren't looking up the word climate change anymore. They're just looking up wildfires because people are getting that as we've been seeing, that there's a bunch of people just setting these places on fire. I mean, there's stories now of people looters dressing up as firefighters or purposely starting fires to get the people to leave the neighborhoods so they can rob these houses now. It's wild. And CNN's freaking out because people aren't Googling climate change anymore.
Again, I would say if inequality would have more to do with the fires than I would say climate change does. The have-nots are angry that other people have more stuff than they do. That's what this is. But again, they want you afraid of climate change. They want you drastically changing your lifestyle and habits because they don't want you driving a car to go places because they're so worried about the chemicals. They won't even let fire trucks in their states because they might be producing too many, emissions in their state. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how crazy California is. Again, remember, Army, we can't even dig holes for defensive positions because we haven't done a land survey on how it's going to affect the ground
and the wildlife.
We dig our holes in the wildlife. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, war does not wait. War. I mean, we drop bombs and stuff, and we nuked Japan. Did we do any environmental surveys in Japan?
Yeah. Said, and here's 40 criminals arrested in Palisade Fire evacuation zones. What is the punishment you think they truly deserve? More than 40 arrests in Palisade Fire evacuation zones. These are some of the people who were caught looting homes in the Palisade fires.
Look at all those future doctors and lawyers.
Diversity is our strength.
They were just going to find some books to read so they could, become doctors and lawyers.
Yep. Kevin Sorbo, crushing it as always. So this is climate change. All these fires. Good Lord. It's amazing that it's, that they're always in these city areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what we talk about, where they're catching people setting fires so they can loot and riot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. This one. Yes, diversity is about getting rid of white people, and that's a good thing, by Emily Goldstein.
The usual suspects, huh?
Mm-hmm. Study shows kids who are homeschooled could miss out on the opportunity to be a gay communist.
That is true. That is true, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Said, art of purpose. I've spent 20 years teaching public school, and I have a master's in education. Trust me, homeschool your kids. How was school today, sweetie? And he just starts vomiting up a rainbow.
Yep.
Golly.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, you wonder why we're sitting here in the position we're in. We have a bunch of gay communists teaching kids that, A, communism's good, being gay, they're all gay. You're all little gay kids, Like, this is insane.
Yeah, this is just weird. Don't we need this water for the fires? This is effing crazy. LA residents react to a major water leak while being told there is no water to fight the fires. California is a joke. And as you can see, they're having a huge water leak. I mean, look at the beginning of this video. Look at this. Looks like there's a freaking flood happening.
Yeah.
Don't we need this water for the fires? This is fucking crazy.
And this is bureaucratic mismanagement. Again, if the government was spending its money wisely, they could have been maintaining these pipes. But guess what? We're too worried about. I mean, the reason those pipes broke was because of climate change. and inequity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Government. 8 million Americans slipped into poverty amid the coronavirus pandemic, new study says. Then Tyler Conway says, slipped?
Yeah.
U.S. government pushed
they
these
pushed
people
you off
into
a cliff.
it. Mm-hmm.
Business owners, businesses never coming back. I know lots of people who had businesses that just, I was deemed because
non-essential.
Daycare facilities, all kinds of stuff. Like, you're not essential. Now the kids can stay home, be locked in their rooms while their parents check on them just by knocking on the door. Are you okay, sweetie? Okay, good. Stay in your room. Can I go to the bathroom, Mom? No, I'll just shit in a bucket.
Yeah. So Jill Biden prepares for her final week as president, the Babylon Bee.
Dr. Jill.
We already looked at that one. I had this one on repeat. We'll show that one another day.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Barry Weiss on Fox News. California is being governed by people who have lost sight of basic governing. Well, a few years too short on that, Barry Weiss.
Yeah.
You're always a day late and a dollar short. These left-wing, journalists.
Again, they vote for the policies that sound nice and seem, it's like, oh, they always vote for the gay communist policies, and then whenever they realize they don't work, then it's like, it's too late. Look what happened.
Yeah. You elected a person. You mean to tell me that the person that was completely invested in their self, being what they are, their gender, race, sexuality, was more focused in on themselves and their policies about making more of themselves versus taking care of the state that they live in or the city? Who would have guessed?
The state may be on fire, but at least we're more tolerant, right, everybody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. This next one is just a little wild. You sent me this, and I found this horrific. Child marriages in Iraq. We were talking about this. This is why you're importing people who thinks this is happening. This is why the grooming gang incidents are happening in the UK right now and all over Europe. There are probably some happening in the United States that we're not aware of.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
These people think that this is totally acceptable, and we're importing them in droves.
Yeah. I mean, look at this.
They're celebrating this. Look at that.
That's a 9-year-old child marrying probably a guy in his 40s or 50s.
Yeah. This is crazy. Crazy. And they're celebrating this like it's a normal day in Iraq.
Yep. Again, guys, this is the religion of peace. This is a people we are importing all over the world.
Yeah.
And you wonder why our world's becoming less safe.
Then this guy, we can just watch this guy real quick. He crushes Karen Bass in a little rant here, and then we can call it after this.
That I genuinely hate, and I know hate is a strong word, genuinely hate than a race hustler. These people are the very reason why the issue of racism still exists in the first place. They use it as a means to get attention, sympathy, and of course to line their pockets. Now, I have been counting down the literal seconds until the race hustlers were going to come out the woodworks and start to blame the backlash that Karen Bass is facing on racism, and I have not been disappointed. We have articles that have already launched off into the atmosphere claiming how if this had not been a black woman, there would have been no sort of finger pointing. This would not have been politicized, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? This guy right here, this Democrat right here, Gavin Newsom, yeah, we're pointing fingers at him and you. So what's your excuse here? That's about as white as a man as a man can be right there. That's whitey white. That is Utah white. That right there is Utah white. And we're still pointing fingers at him just like we're pointing fingers at you. Personal responsibility. Do you know the word? Likely not, because you have been coddled and babysat, and they have made you to feel that you are such a victim, even though you are sitting in the most powerful position. Oh, a black woman. Oppressed. You are oppressed all the way up to the highest seat in your damn city and have the audacity to blame racism. Folks, this is the Democratic Party. This is how they move. This is who they are. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
100%.
That's amazing. What a great point. Again, it's like what I keep telling you guys, the stuff that actually matters, the infrastructural stuff, the stuff that's not sexy, But they don't care. They were appointed to these positions because they wanted power and they don't care about anything else. So what are they going to do? They're going to take the easy way out. Let's just blame racism. Let's just blame sexism. That's easy. That's the easy way out. It doesn't matter. Because they just wanted to get to that seat of power and financially benefit from it. And then again, obfuscate the blame. Take some responsibility, man. Like, you know who make good leaders? People who take responsibility. That's why Democrats don't make good leaders. They never take responsibility. Again, if the education systems worked, no one would vote Democrat, ever. Ever. I'm not saying the Republicans are perfect, but my God, at least at least the media holds them accountable for shit. But you know what the media doesn't do? It doesn't hold Democrats accountable for anything. They make excuses. Like, again, that Atlantic article. Well-intentioned policies fail. You know, racism's what caused this. If she were white, no one would be saying anything. It's like, no, again, it's just like that guy just said. Freaking Gavin Newsom, we are pointing the finger at him too. And he's Utah white.
Yeah.
So again, I think that's about all we've got for you today. Hopefully did a decent job of explaining why insurance companies left. It's not because they are evil corporations that were all corporation-y and make money. It's because bad government policies forced them out of the state.
Yep.
Did they have to leave the state? No, but they also didn't want to basically go bankrupt, but working in a state that refused to work with them.
Yep, 100%. There has to be money to repair the houses, and California houses are extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm. And it's not because they're more expensive than houses here in Oklahoma. They're the same stuff. They're made of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they financially... I mean, you have to do an environmental study before you can even start laying the groundwork for a home.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going to affect the roly-polies, the snails? It's freaking pathetic.
God forbid we found some sacred dirt on your property.
Yeah. God. Again, and then Gavin Newsom, putting the Native Americans in charge of the mudfish? They're experts in this field. Really? Oh, my gosh. But yeah, anyway, that's not me dumping on Native Americans. If you don't have a degree in mudfish studies, I don't know why you put Native Americans in charge of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, how, white man? We understand the mudfish. Like, all right, I guess.
So, yeah. When you have friends and family that are Native American and they're just like, yeah, that's ridiculous too.
Yeah.
They say it too. It's just like, yeah, you can call a spade a spade.
But yeah, I think that's about all I've got for you today. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's all we've got for you today. God bless.
See you later, everybody.